The missing 411 phenomenon, vanished without a trace. The Great Wilderness of North America is a vast, untamed expanse. Millions of acres of dense forests, jagged mountain ranges, and deep, unexplored caves. People go missing here all the time. Some fall victim to the brutal forces of nature. Wild animals, treacherous terrain, or hypothermia. Others succumb to human predators, their fates lost in the dark underbelly of unsolved crimes. But then, there are the others. The ones who disappear under circumstances so bizarre, so inexplicable, that not even the most seasoned investigators can offer an answer. Victims who vanish within seconds, in places where no one could have possibly taken them. Bodies that are found miles away, impossibly far from where they were last seen, in places they could have never reached on their own. Or worse, those who are never found at all. This is the work of David Paulides, a former police detective who has spent over a decade researching these baffling disappearances in national parks and remote wilderness areas. His Missing 411 series has cataloged thousands of these cases, each more unsettling than the last. And the deeper you look, the more disturbing the patterns become, because something strange is happening in the wild, and no one knows what it is. The patterns that shouldn't exist. Paulides has poured over tens of thousands of hours of research, combing through case files, police reports, and witness statements. At first, it seemed like just a collection of isolated incidents, people getting lost, accidents happening, but then the patterns emerged, the impossible distances. Many of the missing, often young children or experienced outdoorsmen, are found miles away from where they disappeared. These aren't simple cases of getting lost. These are bodies appearing on mountain peaks, across vast rivers, or in places that would take days to reach. Yet they vanished only hours earlier. Some children, too small to walk far, are found climbing over jagged terrain, crossing through miles of thick brush, or even ascending to high elevations. No scratches, no bruises, no explanation. It's as if they were carried there. But by what? The strange lack of cause of death. When bodies are found, the autopsies often reveal no clear cause of death. No sign of a struggle, no fatal wounds, just lifeless, abandoned remains. Some are found with their clothes neatly folded beside them, their shoes missing but feet free of cuts or dirt, as if they had never walked through the wilderness at all. Something or someone is taking them. The missing time survivors of these vanishings, those lucky enough to come back, sometimes speak of lost time. A child goes missing for hours, but insists they were only gone for minutes. A hiker blacks out and wakes up miles from where they started, with no memory of how they got there. Some speak of being in a cave, a room, or a strange empty place with no sky. Others claim they weren't alone. The silence of authorities. Perhaps most disturbing of all is the absolute refusal of the National Park Service and other government agencies to release details about these disappearances. Paulides has repeatedly requested official lists of missing persons from national parks, only to be met with resistance, incomplete reports, or outright silence. Why? Why would the government hide information about people vanishing in the wild? What do they know that we don't? Theories. What's taking people? There are many theories, but none are comforting. 1. Predatory humans. The unknown. Hand in the wild. Could there be a hidden network of predators living in the most remote areas of North America? Some believe these vanishings could be the work of feral humans, reclusive groups that have lived off the grid for generations, preying on those who wander too far from the trail. But if that were the case, wouldn't we find more evidence? Tracks? Struggle? Remains? Yet many bodies are never found. 2. Something ancient and inhuman Native American legends speak of beings that live in the mountains and forests. Creatures that watch, wait, and sometimes take. Could these be more than myths? People have reported strange figures lurking in the woods, glowing eyes staring from the darkness, and whispers that call their names. Some survivors claim they were not alone, that something watched them, something followed them. But they never saw what it was. Or maybe they did and they don't remember. 3. The dimensional rift. Portals in the wild. One of the most chilling theories suggests that certain areas of the wilderness contain rifts, gaps between our world and something else. Could these missing people have stumbled into another reality? Some survivors report losing time, seeing impossible landscapes, or feeling like they were in a different world entirely. Many of the missing vanish near boulder fields, caves, or large bodies of water. natural landmarks that have long been associated with supernatural phenomena. If this is true, then these disappearances aren't accidents. There's something else, something we weren't meant to understand. No answers, only fear. The missing 411 cases aren't just stories. They're real people. Hikers, hunters, campers, children, who stepped into the wilderness and never came back. The most terrifying part? It's still happening. Every year, hundreds vanish under these same mysterious circumstances. Some are never seen again. Some return, but they are not the same. And some are found, but not where they were supposed to be. If you go into the wilderness, stay on the trail. If you hear your name being called from the trees, don't answer. Because once you cross that invisible line, you may never come back. Scary noises in the woods, the midnight screams. The wilderness is not empty. The trees whisper. The wind carries secrets, and the darkness hides things that do not belong to the world of the living. Most of the time, these fears exist only in the imagination, but sometimes they don't. In January 2022, a group of teenagers camping deep in the woods discovered this for themselves. What was supposed to be a weekend of laughter, ghost stories, and harmless scares turned into a night of sheer terror. An encounter with something they would never forget. The calm before the storm. The night had started out perfectly. The group, 5 friends who had known each other since childhood, had set up camp in a remote forest clearing, miles away from the nearest town. Their fire crackled warmly, casting flickering shadows against the towering trees. Above them, a blanket of stars stretched across the sky, undisturbed by city lights. They joked. They cooked. They shared old stories. The only sounds around them were the occasional rustling of leaves in the wind and the distant hoots of an owl. It was the kind of peaceful isolation they had been looking forward to. But then, just after midnight, the forest went silent. Not just quiet, silent. No wind, no insects, no animals. It was as if the entire forest was holding its breath. A chill ran through the group. They exchanged uneasy glances, but no one spoke it out loud. The sudden absence of sound had unsettled all of them. Then came the first noise, a deep thundering knock. It sounded as if someone had taken a massive wooden club and slammed it against a tree. The impact echoed through the darkness, sending a shockwave through the silent night. Boom. The friends sat up straight, their laughter fading into tense stillness. "What the hell was that?" one of them whispered. Before anyone could answer, boom, boom, boom. 3 more knocks, even louder, even closer. Then, from deep within the woods, something else joined the sound. A scream. The impossible sound. It was unlike anything they had ever heard before. It wasn't human, yet it wasn't entirely inhuman either. It was high-pitched and agonized, like the wail of a woman in distress. But stretched, distorted, wrong. It rose and fell unnaturally, echoing through the trees like a chorus of tormented voices. Their blood ran cold. Another boom. This one much closer than the others. They weren't alone. "Get in the truck," one of them whispered. No one moved. Then something in the woods moved toward them. The desperate escape. The underbrush crackled. Footsteps, heavy, deliberate, too big to be human, crunched through the frozen leaves. One of the teenagers, Trevor, scrambled for his keys, his hands shaking so violently that he dropped them onto the ground. Find them," he hissed, frantically feeling around in the dirt. Another scream tore through the night. This time it was closer. A shadow passed between the trees, just at the edge of their firelight. Too fast to make out. Too large to be anything they knew. "I got them!" Trevor yelped, yanking the keys from the dirt. He bolted for the truck, the others on his heels. Another boom. This time, the sound came from right behind them. Trevor fumbled with the lock. "Come on!" someone screamed. He wrenched the door open and they piled in, slamming it shut just as the firelight flickered. As if something had stepped in front of it. The headlights flared to life, illuminating the darkness. Nothing. No movement, no figures, no sign that anyone or anything had been there at all. The engine roared as Trevor slammed his foot onto the gas. The truck skidded in the dirt before lurching forward, tearing down the narrow path leading back to the main road. As they sped away, they didn't dare look back. The aftermath. The next morning, they returned. Daylight had a way of making everything seem less terrifying. Maybe it had been an animal. Maybe their minds had played tricks on them. Maybe it had just been one of those things people experience in the woods. But when they reached their campsite, they found something waiting for them. Massive gashes had been carved into the trees surrounding their clearing, as though something with enormous claws had raked across them in the night. The marks were fresh, sap still oozing from the bark. But worse than that were the handprints. Hundreds of them, pressed into the trees, smeared in a dark, unidentifiable substance. Some were small, childlike. Others were impossibly large. Their fingers stretched unnaturally long. And in the center of one of the trees, scratched so deeply into the wood it looked burned in, was a single phrase. "I see you." They left and never returned. Whatever was out there that night had seen them, and it had not forgotten.